Although we are known as a nation of animal lovers, calls to the Scottish SPCA are on the increase. Each year, thousands of domestic pets, horses and farm animals and wildlife are saved from injury, abuse and neglect. In this series of Animal 999, the Society is giving us a behind-the-scenes look at how they do it. Coming up, Connie O'Neill picks up a pedigree pigeon.
Well, hey, I fund it, so for the reward I want it.
And an injured deer's at large in a Glasgow care home.
There was a big bit missing here, as if he'd been maybe attacked with something.
A carefree scene on the River Don as it flows through Port Elphinstone near Inverurie. These swans are perfectly healthy, but this one isn't. It has an incurable condition called angel wing, which is a deformity where the last joint of the wing is twisted outward. It's caused mainly by high amounts of calories and carbs in the diets of young waterfowl like swans, ducks and geese. Angel wing is mostly seen in areas where the public feeds the birds with white bread, chips or cakes. Totally unsuitable for a swan's diet. The youngster will never be able to fly. And that's why the Scottish SPCA is taking an interest. Chances are the cygnet's parents will either kill it or injure it when they realise it can't leave the river. So it's time to move the cygnet onto a larger area of water where it won't be bullied and it might find a mate. This could be a tricky operation for animal rescue officers Karen Hogg and Lynn Craig.
We'll try and entice it out with some bread first, because they are known to be coming over to people for some food. If that doesn't work, we'll just get on our dry suits and go in.
The cygnet's already managed to dodge a couple of previous attempts to catch it. We'll be back later to find out how Karen and Lynn get on. During the summer, the Scottish SPCA gets loads of calls about injured wood pigeons. Animal Rescue Officer Connie O'Neill's been sent to another report of an injured pigeon. But this time, it's a little bit different.
Right, what we got, guys?
Some kind of, it's a pigeon, but it's obviously somebody's pet. It's got the 2 rings on its feet.
Oh, it's got rings on it, so it's not just an ordinary run-of-the-mill pigeon. Right, okay, let's have a look.
I think it's not been flying for a while, right?
Yeah. The wings are just going right back in, so there's no break in the wings. That's good.
I checked it, I think that's
right. Usually what they do is...
blood on the inside of the wing, eh?
Right, let's just check the wings anyway, see if there's a... Oh, yeah.
It's obviously come from
That's
there.
come from there. A little feather getting pulled out or anything can make a lot of blood on these, but sometimes they put a phone number on the inside of the wing. They just print it on the inside of the wing, but he's not done that. So, let's check all the rest of the...
It's pretty thin about the chest, and that is. There's no breast on it at all.
Just that it's really, really thin. So now you've got the rings on here, 2013 bird. Toes are all working fine.
Right, check that.
And it's got that ring that's actually falling off at the moment. It's broken. They all have their own numbers and they're all registered with that as well.
Well, hey, I fund it, so for the reward I want it.
Well, I'll tell them. But that's how they sit. They're quite happy to sit like that, yeah.
As Connie examines the pigeon, she spots a worrying wound on its body.
There's a perfectly round hole there.
Deer rifle pellet.
Well, I would say deer rifle pellet, but it doesn't look like there's anywhere that's gone in further than there.
Some of the rifles are not powerful, huh?
It's a possibility it's just hit it and broke the skin and that's been it. And it's bled a little bit. That might have brought it down and it's been far too weak to get back up again.
Racing pigeons can be worth thousands of pounds, so Connie will do her best to get this one back to health.
The pigeon's a bit thin. It needs a few days to bulk up so that it can take off the ground and fly. So I'm going to take it to Fish Cross and see if they'll feed it for a few days and just keep an eye on it. Possibly find the owner if we can trace it through the ring on its leg, then we can find the owner and they can take it away and feed it up and get it back to health.
Inspector Stacey Irwin works all over Glasgow, one of the busiest areas in Scotland. Inspectors often have a frustrating time of it.
SPCA!
They can't get an answer at any of the doors they knock.
Nope, no luck.
Sometimes all Stacey can do is leave a card requesting a callback to resolve the problem.
Hi there, it's the SPCA. We've had a call about your dog. All right, thank you.
But with an area as hectic as Glasgow, Stacey soon begins to get results.
It's obviously quite expensive because it's an operation at the end of the day to get an animal neutered. But sometimes we can actually kind of help you prevent her having any unwanted litters. Does that sound like something you'd want to do?
I'm waiting until she's at R2 before I was going to breed advanced and then get her dressed.
Right.
Because that might, she's a bit hyper and that. It's a bit
Usually, well, having a litter,
calms them down.
It doesn't really. It's a bit of like an old wives' tale, to be honest with you.
Often she just has to give some advice. But other times, she has to take animals away from their owners if they've not been looking after them properly. And in Glasgow, it's not just domestic animals the Scottish SPCA has to deal with. Inspector Stacey's latest call is at a care home in the north of the city. A deer has been spotted in the grounds, and staff think it's injured.
No. There's no way we're going to get anywhere near that.
It wasn't running the way you'd saw it there, but it was just kind of dauntering about the back, and for that, because we don't see them in the grounds as much, we thought there was maybe something wrong with it. There was a fox approached it and it didn't run, and magpies were actually coming down and pecking at it.
There was a big bit missing here, as if it'd been maybe attacked with something, because when it was outside Mead Hill it was just sitting there, it wasn't moving at all when it was on the wee cub bit.
They do get hit by cars, and they will have like scuff marks and things, and sometimes they'll maybe just tend to sit because they'll be a wee bit in shock, and obviously it'll be a wee bit sore, but sometimes they sort of come round and then that's when they start moving again.
The deer is running quite freely despite the wound on its back, and it would be almost impossible to catch without injuring it or stressing it even more. Stacey will have to leave it, and as if it knows what she's thinking, the deer spots an exit route and it's off. On the banks of the River Don in Port Elphinstone, animal rescue officers Karen Hogg and Lynn Crabe are trying to catch a young swan with an incurable condition called angel wing. The pair want to relocate it to a larger stretch of water away from its parents, who are likely to turn on it when they realise its condition means it'll never be able to fly. They're trying to entice the cygnet with some brown bread.
I'm not even interested in.
Which, although not ideal, is better for swans to eat than white bread. But so far, Karen and Lynn are having no success.
100% he knows what's going on. Sees the swan who could, obviously it's something that isn't quite used to. The mum and dad's telling it as well to stay away. I think we're going in.
Karen and Lynn will have to pull on dry suits to carry on with the rescue. Swans are notoriously protective of their offspring, so this will be a big challenge for the girls.
Teamwork.
Still to come.
I was in tears.
A cat lover is left heartbroken by an abandoned moggy. And will our little swan be able to escape the clutches of Karen and Lynn?
Go for it, Lynn. Go, 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 go.
Animal rescue officer Connie O'Neill's brought her racing pigeon into the Society's Wildlife Rescue Centre.
It's just grounded and it's a wee bit thin. It's got a wound on its chest, but...
Yeah, he's not looking too happy, is he?
No.
Right,
No.
you're coming through with me.
Be hungry.
He will be hungry.
Even though it's not a wild bird, Fishcross staff will still take care of it and try to get it back on its feet.
My first concern is holding him. You can see he's really, really thin. I mean, that keel bone should not be like that. I mean, they should have like rounded chest, and to see any sort of sharpness there at all means that bird has been without food for a long time and he's got really out of condition, which has then meant other things have happened. He could have been, caught by something. I'll give him 24 hours lactate, and then after that we'll try and introduce some food into his diet, because obviously being so thin, all his digestive system will be starting to shut down, and a bird like this could, might not be able to digest food. If I put seeds in straight away, he might not be able to eat them, process them like a normal bird would. This is probably one of the thinnest pigeons we've had in for a really long time.
We'll be back later to find out how this racer is getting on. In Port Elphinstone, animal rescue officers Karen Hogg and Lynn Crabe are trying to catch a cygnet with an incurable condition called angel wing. It means it'll never be able to fly, so they want to move the bird away from its parents, who are likely to turn on it when they realise it can't leave the river.
It's a lot shallower up here, Lynn.
The youngster didn't fall for their attempts to entice it with bread, so Karen and Lynn have changed into dry suits and will be making their attempt in the water. It's a risky business that needs two people, one to ward off the cygnet's protective parents and the other to catch the bird.
Very, very aware that we're here. Mum and Dad are kind of guarding it. Kind of throwing some bread. I'm at their level now, so with a bit of luck it'll just be a case of just hopefully just hooking it and grabbing it.
Lynn and Karen will need to work in harmony to pull off this rescue. The cygnet's parents are very wary.
Mum and Dad's just being good parents.
The water is getting deeper, so it will be harder for Karen to grab the young swan.
They have the greater advantage on us. They're natural in the water. Try to close the gap in the middle.
This is probably their best chance.
Go for it, Lynn. Go, 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 go.
Karen needs to get the cygnet out of the water quickly.
Get Mum.
The mother still might lash out. The mother makes one last attempt to get to her youngster, but Lynn holds firm. And Karen is able to get the cygnet out of the river and into a swan bag.
They're quite intimidating because they're quite a big bird and they've got quite big wings. They do make a lot of noise. Basically, it's just protecting its baby, and that's what it's supposed to do.
The trick with these is if you're going to go in, you just go for it. Thankfully, I had Lynn with me, or else I think I'd be pretty beaten up myself. This wee fella, as you can hear, is calling out for parents, so we'll have to get him away from here just to save them from stressing out and to save him from stressing out. And then we're going to go and take him up and we'll go and release him.
Lynn makes sure the mother swan can't get near to her cygnet or Karen. The youngster is none the worse for his ordeal, so now Karen will take him to a release site where he'll be much safer. There's a little clue as to what you might find in this house before you go inside. But it couldn't prepare you for what is actually in here. It's an Aladdin's cave of feline knickknacks, bric-a-brac and ornaments. Linda Morrison has been collecting cat mementos for years.
I think it was because when I was younger, I didn't have a very good home life. I did have a cat and all my affection went on that, and it gave me lots of affection that I didn't get, so I've always had this sort of thing about cats. And my collection started off with getting a present of a cat, a blue one on the mantelpiece with its hand up, its paw up. That was my first one. I've just been collecting them ever since. Going to charity shops, my friends going to charity shops, see any cat stuff to keep it for me.
Linda's already got some living cats. And now she's fallen heir to another one.
I've got 3 cats of my own, and obviously I can't really afford to take on any more. I'd rather give them good quality than have too many, and they'll get on well. And I'm hoping that the cat will get a new home.
Scottish SPCA Inspector Leanne McPake's been called out to see if she can help Linda.
Where are they?
There's only the one. When I went back down and get the basket, it's under there, it's not coming out. I'm trying to get it out. And this is the letter that was left, quite a sad letter.
And sorry, where were they found?
Just down at Bannockburn Post Office.
Just in front of the post office?
Yeah.
And what time was this at?
8 o'clock this morning.
8 o'clock this morning. And there was how many of them in total?
There was supposed to be 2, because the person that found them, that phoned me, said there were 2, but when I went down there was only the 1.
Please get us a good home. They are house cats, very good house trained. Black one is 9 months neutered. Black and grey one is 1 year old and sterilised. I'm sorry, I can't afford to keep them. Can you keep them together, as they've been together since they were kittens? It breaks my heart to do this. I can't afford.
I know, it's so sad, isn't it? I was in tears.
Leanne will have to get the cat out from under the unit, which might be easier said than done.
If I can just encourage it to come out rather than having to pull it out, it just won't stress it quite as much. Can you come in?
Leanne's worried about breaking the ornaments, so Linda lends a hand.
Right, 1 minute. Oops.
And between them, they're able to free the moggy.
Oh, I can't really get to it. Oh, just as well you're friendly.
Yes, that was lucky. Linda's trinkets would have been all over the place if the cat had kicked off, but they've survived intact.
It's an adult. Might be a young adult, but it's still an adult. An okay body condition. A wee bit lean, but doesn't appear to be any obvious injuries on it. What we'll do is we'll take it into the centre, and it'll be held for 7 days, and then it'll be, oh honey, and then it'll go up for rehoming.
I know it's going to a safe place, which is good. And I know that we'll get a good home.
This is the hospital ward at Fishcross, where all the injured pigeons are brought. In any 1 year, staff can deal with up to 800 of the birds. Our little fella's been getting treatment in here for a week. Racing birds are usually stronger than their wild cousins, but sadly, this one hasn't perked up. Although he's puffing out his chest, that's actually a sign of distress. He was taking fluids, but he wouldn't eat, and sadly, the decision had to be taken to put him to sleep.
It must have been really bad for it to go downhill so quick. They're quite hardy, but this one just wasn't strong enough.
It's time for Animal Rescue Officer Karen Hogg to release the young swan she caught in Port Elphinstone. Karen's brought him to a loch where there's lots of room for him to swim about.
This is a nice big loch for it. Well, hopefully this will go to plan, because the releasing of him is just as important as, and picking the release spot is just as important as actually when you go to catch them. So with a bit of luck, this one will go and take to the water, no problem. There we go.
Karen watches anxiously. The youngster's taking his time going into the water. But once he does, he swims off to introduce himself to his new pals.
Because he's got the angel wing, he'll never be able to fly. And in 3 months down the line, when it's time that it'll be time for him to leave, the mum and dad can become very, very aggressive towards them. So we've now actually moved him. As you can see, the loch itself is It's a large loch. There is other swans in that here. There is a better chance of him finding his mate here.
That's really good news. Our cygnet seems to have made friends already with the swans that are here. So the future for him, even with his angel wing condition, looks very bright.